From Cali to Tally, it's time to wake up. WarChant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source, and this is Wake Up War Chant. Now here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hudjavandi and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? Special edition of Wake Up War Chant, part of the WarChant.com family. Use the promo code WarChant30 if you're not a member to get 30 free days of access to WarChant.com and the message boards and all the great content. Also, you'll get like a 10% discount, I think, to Garnet and Gold. So check them out as well. It's a special edition because Corey's being a good father. He's probably got a hangover from being at the Raw. So we got Ira Schafel joining us, the managing editor of WarChant.com.
I always feel like it's like the NWO takeover when I show up. It's
awesome.
like I've kicked down the door and grabbed the headset. Corey's gone.
We need to do it more often, man. You know, it's like what's the whole thing? Like Thomas Jefferson said, the tree of freedom needs to be fed with the blood of patriots or something like that. It's like, the tree of optimism needs to be fed by like Ira Schafel's like knowledge and wisdom. Because Corey and I are always talking about the skepticism of things. But one thing to feel really positive about, I think, is Florida State being able to bounce back against. Say what you will about the record, a game Notre Dame squad on Monday night at the Tucker Center. What did you sort of take away from Florida State's ability to get out of there with a win 68-61?
I think that's what good teams do. I just think that, Florida State, that's a game. Leonard Hamilton made a comment, and I'm writing my column is going to kind of be on this. Leonard Hamilton said toward the end of his press conference, this was a game we had to have. Well, no, they didn't. Florida State already had 9 wins in the conference. They've got several more chances to get a 10th win in the conference. They're in the NCAA tournament. They're playing for seeding now, but when you're playing for seeding, they're not must-wins anymore. Must-wins were back in the days where you're just trying to get into the tournament. So I thought they showed a lot of maturity to be pretty dead-legged. They played 4 games in 9 days, 3 of them on the road. I mean, that's been a rough stretch for them. Then they the way they lost at North Carolina. And he said after that game they looked gassed in the second half of that game. Well, now you come back, one-day rest, you got to play a Notre Dame team that was shooting the ball really well. And I'm sure Notre Dame saw this as a chance. They saw kind of a wounded Florida State team. This is a chance to get them. And they had them down 10. He said twice. I only remembered once, but I guess they were down by 10 points twice in this game and came back, just kind of chipped away, and then made some big plays down the stretch to get the win. I just think that it reminded me of the role – Florida State was on the other side of that role a lot of times early in Hamilton's tenure, where they go and have a team on the ropes, and that team would just kind of figure out a way to claw, whether it was Duke or whoever, claw back and win the game. I thought it said a lot for Florida State as a program to get that win.
Right, and if you're the sum of all your experiences, like they've won games in every single way it feels like at this point, and I guess that just makes them that much more ready once March does roll around, because they're firmly in the tournament. It's just seeding right now, like you said.
Yeah, and then so many guys stepping up in different ways. I mean, it wasn't a game where I think in basketball you kind of get used to like somebody takes over a game. So and so scored 24 points. So and so had 18 rebounds, whatever. But this was a game where, like, nobody was great. I mean, maybe Devin Vassell.
It is Vassell, yeah.
Devin, old DV, does Corey have a nickname for him yet?
Not yet.
What in the world? How's he not?
He's focused on Wyatt Rector. We were trying to find out the walk-on and see if his middle initial is an E.
I don't think we need to do that. But anyway, Devin, he was probably the star of the game. He had 13 points off the bench, 5 of 6 from the field, 3 of 3 from three-point range, had a huge 3 in the second half, and just really gave them a spark. But other than that, it was like MJ Walker had a little spurt where he played really well. Trent Forrest hit a couple free throws late. Terrence Mann with a crazy follow dunk where seriously, it looked like he was 20 feet in the air slamming down.
Mike Bray called it a freak show moment. Like you can't defend that.
It really was. I mean, Terrence Mann he's not a guy you say is just off the charts athletic, but man, he went and got it on a missed 3. And then, just different guys. Kevin Gelly didn't have his best game overall, but he came through in a couple of moments. Kamaji played pretty well. I think he had 12 or 10 or 12 points.
12, yeah.
Really kind of helped them out early, especially when everybody else was kind of struggling. So, yeah, I mean, it was impressive how so many different guys, and that's how this team is. I get it. But nobody, really had a great game other than Vassell. I mean, everybody else was just kind of, they had their moments. but they pieced it together.
And it's got to feel good now that you have, 4 or 5 days off, and it's not a 2-game losing streak. At least you're back on the right side of things. So they'll take on NC State back here in Tallahassee at 12 on Saturday, so that'll be exciting. One of us will be here. I guess one of us will be at Hauser. Actually, I don't know what time the game is on Saturday at Hauser, but whatever. Let's talk about football a little bit. We've already dropped our first edition of the spring preview. Talked about running backs, the position that was absolutely flush with talent. Surely they could do no wrong, right? And things went sideways there, but they're down to 3 scholarship guys, Akers, LeBourne, and then Anthony Grant. LeBourne, we're assuming, is probably not going to see much action, if any.
Yeah, I saw him the other day on campus, and he looked like he's working. You can tell he's working, but he didn't look like he was very spry. I mean, he was kind of limping a little bit.
Brace on his knee or anything like that?
No, he didn't, but it was after a workout. My guess is they're not going to give him contact, I wouldn't think.
Yeah.
But, I think this is going to be Anthony Grant's spring, Is it Anthony?
Yeah,
it is
right.
Anthony.
Trust your first instinct always.
I think this is going to be his spring. I think this is going to be a huge opportunity for him. And from everything I've heard, they love him. I don't know why we didn't see more
summer,
of him. I know.
Right?
I don't know why we didn't see more of him last season. I think it was just everything else was so poor on offense that maybe they just wanted to go with the most veteran guys. But we heard reports of scrimmages where he was just stoppable, and he just didn't get a lot of action except some special teams. But I think this is going to be a big spring for him. And we're moving ahead to wide receivers, and it's it's
a whole bunch of guys there.
Yes, there are a whole bunch of guys. They lose Nooney, but really don't lose a whole lot. So George Campbell transferred, but for the most part, it's a lot of guys back, and 2 position coaches.
As this recording, yeah.
So, they still have they brought in Ron Dugan's coach receivers. If you look at the official FSU website, David Kelly is still listed as receivers coach and recruiting coordinator. We assume that at some point between now and Monday, he'll lose the receivers coach title and get some other to be determined title. Who knows? I mean, really, we've heard different things. Some people say he's going to be helping on defense. Some people say he's going to be helping on special teams. He's going to be helping coach. I don't think they're going to get that waiver to get him off the field, which is something we've been talking about for seems like months now. We don't know officially. I mean, I guess they can still appeal it, but I haven't seen anything that makes me think, based on that rule, that makes me think that they're going to get an exception. I don't even know what the grounds of the exception is, other than, hey, we really don't want him to be on the field this year. I mean, the spirit of the law, the spirit of the rule is you don't want to do it if it was like some sort of unfair recruiting advantage. But the rule is the rule, and you're not supposed to have had contact with recruits and then go be an off the field, and then have for less than 2 years and then go back be an off the field analyst. So I just don't see how I never saw how they were going to get it. I don't see how they're going to get it. So I think David Kelly is going to be an on the field coach for at least one more season. And at this point, it just seems like Willie's going to be rearranging the chairs. I mean, you got the new coaches in, Dugan's, Clements and Briles. How you make it work otherwise, I don't know if it – I mean, do you feel like it matters that much? I mean, granted, Snyder has been mostly a defensive ends. He's been mostly a front seven kind of coach, but he did coach some secondary early years. He's been a defensive coordinator. So I think he could help out in the secondary if you want. I think Kelly could probably do it if he needed to. And then also, special teams, I think any of them could do it. I'm not that wrapped up in who does what, are you?
Well, I just feel like the defense needs a shot in the arm, and I feel like, I don't know how they're going to try to use Mark Snyder to bolster that, and then to throw David Kelly there, which is not his sort of forte. I don't know how that really makes you better. And at the end of the day, Robert Cooper told us that Odell's coaching the whole D-line now, but to what extent? It's the chase. It's off-season workouts. I guess spring we'll actually see what they're going to do because, I think if anything, you do leave Snyder as your defensive ends coach, and maybe him and David Kelly just split special teams, and then I don't know if David Kelly can do something to help the DBs, but that's a position that needs focus, that needs help, and it doesn't seem like they're going to get it, at least in the conventional, you would imagine, but maybe they can piece it together and figure out a way, and if that offense scores more points and puts them, maybe that's the defense for them, the best assistance of the defense right now is to have an offense that's going to be effective and keep them off the field.
Yeah, I guess that's the where you're hurt is what Willie seemed to want to do is get David Kelly off the field, bring in a defensive backs coach to help Harlan Barnett.
Well, he's your head coach.
Yeah.
He's an offensive-minded head coach, and he's got 6 assistants on the offensive side of the ball and only 4 on the defense.
So that's where you would think
tough.
it would make sense to move Kelly to that side. I don't know, man.
Turn around, look at the ball. Right?
Really? That's the
thing. Turn around the whole time.
Lead the drills, run the drills. I watch Harlan Barnett coach the DBs, and it's not like there's anything groundbreaking. it's no different than what I've seen a dozen other defensive backs kind of coaches do. So, but I do think Snyder, if they involved him more in the back end, that's usually the position. Usually, if you're coaching in the back end, that's usually you're more of a say in what the secondary is doing from a game plan standpoint. And he has been a defensive coordinator. He's led. And it seemed like last year when they moved him down to the field, we focused on the fact that Barnett went to the box, and that was good because Barnett saw things from up in the box where he wanted to be. But I also think Snyder seemed pretty valuable on the field. And so I think giving him more of a voice, and he's not going to be threatening to Harlan Barnett, I think is a good thing. So to be honest with you, I'm more a little bit confused or questioning the idea of having Odell coach the entire defensive line because, again, not that Odell can't do it, but pass rushing is a pretty specific skill, and it's very different. Odell's he didn't play that, and to my knowledge hasn't really taught that. I'm not saying he can't, but when you talk about the nuances, and especially at Florida State, we think about, the big deal we made when Brad Lawing came in and how the improvements he made, and, DeMarcus Walker just raved about how he just took his game to a whole different level, and then you're going to have them working for a guy that's never played or even coached that position. That seems weird to me. Now Snyder will still be there, so maybe it makes more sense to have Snyder still be up there and help with special teams, maybe like assistant defensive line coach and special teams coordinator. But then do you get Barnett any help in the background or in the back end? To your point though. If the offense is better, that is going to help the defense. There's no doubt. One of their biggest problems last season was just how bad they were on offense and special teams. It's hard to play defense if your offense and special teams are that terrible.
So there's a lot of receivers to figure out where they're going to have plenty of coaching probably. They're going to have an interiors receivers coach. Coaches. I would think that they've got to feel good about that. And by they, I mean Kendall Briles and Randy Clements and what they're walking into. I'm sure Randy's going to be a little bit frustrated at times with this offensive line, but what they're going to be able to put out there, obviously Tamori and Terry we think is going to be the leading guy, the bell cow, if you will, the receiving core, and then from there it's the Seans, Trayshawn or Keyshawn, and DJ Matthews, I think, kind of jockeying for the other 2 spots there, because it seems like they'll probably run some form of, mainly 3 receivers will be the base for them.
And maybe this offensive coordinator will bring out the best in Keith Gavin.
I totally forgot. Of all the people, you would have told me that you talk about this, they're going to have something called this transfer portal, and this is what kids can do and they can get from it. Like, oh, this guy's going to totally dip his toe into it and hopefully, for his own sake, profit from it. But he's still here, man.
10 toes down, buddy.
Still here. Still here.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Briles does with personnel, and which personnel bubble up and which guys kind of, impress and get opportunities, mostly at receiver and offensive line. I think that, I don't think we'll see. There's no guarantees, but I think Clements is going to be a huge upgrade. I think the offensive line is going to play a lot better. That would be my biggest predictions. I think the offensive line is going to go from what it was to at least pretty good. I think you'll see
adequate.
To the jump that like the defense did under Mark Stoops that one year. That's what you're looking for, just to go to serviceable.
Right.
And if you get anything above that, great. And I think they're going to get that. And then, but receiver, I'm curious to see, because basically those guys will have new position coaches and Dugans, and also a new coordinator. Not that David Kelly, I think held favorites or anything else, but it's just a different, different coaches
Clean
want
slate,
different
man.
things. Yeah. So I'm, Keith Gavin, he's got to be able to catch the ball better. But I do think it sounds like Briles, from what we've heard from him, he definitely wants to take shots downfield. So, you would think Terry will continue, especially if Blackman's a quarterback. It'll be a big spring for Tamari and Terry. There's a couple other guys that, the slot guys, it's going to be interesting. Does DJ Matthews take the step. We thought he was going to be a big factor last year, and
not so
didn't
much.
really happen.
No, not at all.
So you got some other, they got other options of Trayshawn and, like you said, Keyshawn and all the Shawns. So
got another Trayshawn, the walk-on running back, man.
That's right, coming in the fall. I think that, to me, the receiver position is I feel like the offensive line is going to come around, so I'm not even going to be that focused. I think the receiver position, to me, is going to be most interesting on offense, in my opinion.
Because there's a lot of redshirt freshmen that we'll kind of see from, and because I know Jordan Young, the kid from Georgia that was committed elsewhere at one point and was kind of the last.
In the big
Warren
kid,
Thompson
Warren
as
Thompson.
well. So
I mean, and I saw he's another one that we heard rumors late last season that he wasn't happy, he was going to look to leave, maybe go in the transfer portal, and he did not. And I saw him in one of those chase videos, look good. I mean, so. Yeah, I mean, physically, he's a guy that the first time you see him, you're like, whoa.
It's like a Terry clone. When Terry's tired, just put him out there, run down the field as fast as you can, buddy. And then maybe they'll put up for him and he can catch the 50-50 ball. I'll always remember, like, when they gave us that depth chart last year, and then Walt Bell was like, Keith's done really good, gone up there and got those 50-50 balls. And it's like, okay, all right, new day, man. Everything is just lethal simplicity. It's working out, man. So we had to make it easier on him. So that'll be it'll be interesting to see what shakes out there. I know people are really big on Harrison and Helton right now. I think it'll be interesting to see if Helton, with his body type, if he can sustain 13 weeks and produce. I mean, he showed what he's capable of. It just can we extrapolate that and just see what's going to work over the course of 13 weeks. But obviously with Terry, that's someone solid. Then, but you want to say he's going to need some help because everyone's going to keep keying on him. But what kind of help did he have last year? And by week 7, I'm sure everybody knew like the only way they can move the ball down the field quickly is that guy, and he still made it happen. So
well, and they seem to use him as a decoy for long stretches, much to Corey's chagrin. But I think that Blackman certainly likes to go to him. I'm curious as far as the spring goes. I don't know what he has to prove, really. Right. I mean, he's got to improve some. He's probably got to improve some things.
You give the Dalvin Cook treatment? Just shut him down, or no?
I wouldn't say that. But I mean, at the same time, how many reps does he need? Yeah. I mean, you talked about those redshirt freshmen. Those guys really have a huge opportunity.
How about the tight ends? Because those guys aren't going to really. I mean, they weren't tight ends last year in terms of what we've historically and traditionally thought of tight ends, but McKitty and Cam McDonald, those are two guys that are hopefully at least maybe like a red zone package where those guys can be flexed out wide and really give you some trees to throw at. Yeah,
and Cam McDonald we spoke to him last week. I mean, just an impressive guy. Oh, yeah. And when we watched him in drills last year, he ran receiver drills a lot, and looked like a wide receiver. It's funny when we were talking. I don't know if you guys talked about this on the show or not, but I listen mostly.
That's okay,
I may miss a minute here or there. I just want to make sure.
You got 3 daughters, man. You got to keep this ship going, man, with Corey just shooting holes at it all the time.
But if you guys didn't talk about it. But, yeah, because I asked him, I said, do you see yourself as a receiver or tight end? And I asked him who his favorite players are, and every single guy he mentioned was a tight end. He clearly wants to be a tight end. But he said, I think he said he's 15 pounds heavier than the biggest receiver on the roster, and he's 10 pounds lighter than the lightest tight end on the roster. So he is a prototypical tweener. But he feels like he's a tight end that can stretch the field. That's what he wants, those mismatches. Yeah. And so you would think there's a good opportunity there. It didn't materialize last year, but you also, Nasir Upshur transferred, so that reduces the tight end. Jonathan Vickers, he got a good bit of playing time last year, and he's
Gabe Neighbors still around. I forgot to mention
Gabe Neighbors is still around.
Maybe he'll go to running back if they need some bodies there.
Possible, at least short yardage. And then, but yeah, no, they got talent at tight end. I mean, Trey McKitty. Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that looks like an NFL guy sometimes, but he was not very. I mean, at times last
second half of the season, it felt like I don't know if he hit a wall or if they just scouted him or what happened, but
was not the guy that we had seen previously. But again, it's hard to judge some of those guys because the whole package was so bad. Yeah. It's like if everything's bad, it's hard to evaluate each individual guy, and so I think those guys should be excited, right? I mean, they should be fired up for kind of a fresh chance, even though it's not a whole new coaching staff. It is a fresh start, especially if the offensive line's halfway decent.
Yeah, and because you have a coordinator who's proven it 3 different places and, for the last 6-7 years in a row, definitely have to be optimistic about things. Yeah, man, he's moved the ball. He's scored points. He's now calling the plays for you, so they'll feel good about it. I feel good about it, too. I feel good about the show. We're going to wrap it up now, though, Ira.
That's good. That's good.
I don't know if we'll have Corey back tomorrow or when, but we'll do the Renegade Express. Leave your questions on the Tribal Council. If you're not a member, use the promo code WARCHANT30 for 30 days of access. Check out warchant.com. Ira will have a full breakdown again of the wide receiver position as we move into our spring football previews. And this is like the last week we can sleep in, Corey and I. Then we got to get back on that adult schedule and start waking up early.
You guys going to be okay?
Probably not. We'll complain.
The great thing is, it's just it's an opportunity for you guys to commiserate. It brings you guys together. I think that you guys find some commonality out at the practice fields while we're waiting to get back to get inside. You guys have something to kind of bond about, which is nice.
I'm stoked, man. Football's here almost. It'll be great. Thanks for listening, everybody.
WarChant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. WarChant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.